I started making pottery in
2007.
2007, and I've been making it since then. What's today's date? 25?
2025.
So how many years would that be?
I forgot.
Let's see, that would be
18.
18 years.
18 years
Yeah.
now. When I left the city of Rock Hill, I left the age of 40, and I had time then. And one day, my cousin Troy Canty, we hung out together, and we were here in my shop talking about our kin people, our ancestors, and we took the notion to go to the clay hole and dig clay, which I had a little know-how of making the pottery
How'd you have know-how?
I just knowed you coil it, you know.
Did you ever do it with anybody in your family
No,
or anything?
no.
So
That's-
nobody really taught you.
Billy Ann Billy Ann McKellar, husband Steve, one day a long time back, he had some clay because Billy Ann made pottery, her and her mama. And Steve gave me a little bit of piece of clay, and I made a little dish. That's the first piece I made. And so anyway, I had time on my hands, and Troy and myself, we decided to try to think of who we could get take us to the clay hole. Troy has dug clay for his mother, which was Catherine Canty, which was my aunt. Her husband was Billy Canty, which was my daddy's brother.
Okay, gotcha.
So anyway, I said, I know somebody makes pottery, and he's got time. I said, let's go see Larry Brown. So we went and saw Larry. Larry said, yeah, I'd be glad to go to clay hole with y'all and we'd dig some clay. So we made an appointment. Back then we had to call and request for Mr. Nesbitt now to unlock the gate and let us in and make appointment to dig clay, which I think that's changed now. I said, now we don't have to go through all that to get our clay at the old clay hole. But anyway, we went and dug clay, and Larry, then before I knowed it, the next day me and Larry was straining it. He showed me how to strain it, Larry did, and Troy. We strained it, prepared it, let it cure it out to a texture that I like working with. And then Larry was in my shop, and Troy. Larry showing me how to coil it, and Troy was showing me too. Which I caught on to it like that. I coiling it and making a vase or bowl or whatever. And I don't know, it's just natural, come to me natural. And Larry and Troy said, you don't need nobody to show you how to make pottery. Larry said, you already know. He said, I haven't never seen nobody make pottery like that, starting out. He said, you don't need no.
It just came natural to you.
Just came natural.
It was like it was in your DNA.
It's just like my grandma Emma, which I get on that subject in a minute.
Okay.
But anyway, started making pottery. Then I made my pottery. Then Larry showed me how to scrape it and rub it and do all that. Troy did, showing me too. Which I caught on all that. And then I had a few other tribal members come by and visit me. Caroline Sanders, which was a great potter. She came by and gave me tips and sat out there in the shop. Matter of fact, we went and dug clay together. And I took her down on 97 and we dug some pan clay. See, it's two different type clays, pipe and pan. You use a little bit of pan to strengthen the pipe clay to make larger pieces, the way I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just take regular pipe clay and make small pieces of pottery. And I was taught that pan clay was an ingredient to strengthen it.
Yes.
And then other tribal members that made pottery, they all said I made pretty pieces of pottery.
Mm-hmm.
They was amazed.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
then that's the way I caught on to it, making my pottery, and just been making it ever since then.
So you mentioned a little bit about your first piece that you made, the dish. How did you feel like that turned out?
That's what I was going to tell you. That very first piece of pottery that I coiled and handmade and scraped and rubbed, and we put it in the fire pit out here at the house. And when it was burnt, and I reached in those ashes, coals, and pulled that piece of pottery out of the fire pit, I had the greatest, warmest feeling come over me, knowing I made some Catawba pottery.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a great feeling. And since then I've been making Catawba pottery, and I love making Catawba pottery because the Catawba Indian blood runs in my veins, and it'll be with me.
I love that because I feel like all of us that make Catawba pottery have had those experiences, whether it's at the clay hole or while you're making the pieces or when you fire them, you feel that connection.
And when you pull it out of that fire pit, and it was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a great warm feeling came over me, knowing I make Catawba pottery. And I've been making it ever since then.
That's great. I know you said that it came to you pretty naturally, but were there any, like when you were learning to make bigger pieces, were there ever any challenges that you had or that you had to overcome?
Yes.
What are some examples?
Detailing it and shaping it and getting it more rounder. Like every piece of pottery I made, or making Indian head vases and tying the head onto the pottery, onto the vase. It was a challenge. And you got to get your coils and all of it tied in good. I'm a believer that if you have an air pocket in the coils, it might, if there's moisture in that clay, or if there's an air pocket in it, sometimes it'll crack and blow off.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've experienced that many a time.
Yeah.
But I learned, you never quit learning.
Yeah.
Never.
Lots of trial and error.
I don't care who you are, or how old you are, or how long you've been making pottery. You'll never learn it all. I mean, you just learn something new every day if you're making pottery. But if you want to make good, nice Catawba pottery, it's time consuming. You can't rush it. And you've got to take your time and make it the best you can. That's my belief there. I love to make my pottery the best I can because I go to shows, pottery shows, and you have strangers, all people from all over the state, from other states, come to see you. Some people come to see me from Kansas. I have, it's kin to me. They live in Kansas, and every vacation, they make a trip, they come to see me. And his mother was a Canty, Catawba.
Cool.
And he's related to me, kin to me. And they visit me, and other kin people visit me like that. I love make my pottery the best I can, because I have strangers, may I say strangers, all kind of walk of life, people looking at my pottery. And my pottery, if it's going out in the world, I want it to be the best I can to represent the Catawba Indian Nation.
Yeah. That's a great way to say it. Because if they haven't ever seen Catawba pottery before, they're experiencing Catawba through your
Yes,
pottery.
yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And like I say, you want to make it, put all your willpower in it and making your pottery. Don't rush it. Just don't throw something together and let it go places. You want to do the best you can.
Yep. Is there any particular things that you really like to make?
Yes.
And okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I love making it all. I love making wedding jugs. I love making gypsy pots. I love making cupid jugs. I love making Indian head vases. Snake bowls.
Ducks.
Ducks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you do a lot of different effigies.
I love making bears, buffaloes, swans. But my number one thing I love to make, I don't know why come, but it's about the first, I made that dish the very first piece.
Mm-hmm.
But the second piece I made was a duck.
Really?
And I love making my ducks. I don't know, for some reason I love making my ducks.
Sometimes we just connect to something. We don't have to have a reason, right?
Right, and I love making turtles.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I believe my ducks is number one. And I make my ducks now. All Catawba potters have their own images, their own detailing of making their pottery. But if I'm going to make a duck, I wanted to make it, scrape it, and detail it to the best of my ability to make it look like a duck in the wild, you know.
Yeah. I love that.
Just like my turtles. You might know it and you might not know it. I was told turtles are the keepers of the river.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at a regular old box turtle, and if you ever catch one, or look at one up close, count the markings on its shell.
13, right?
13 blocks. That represents 13 moons
Mm-hmm.
in the year. That's
So you try to make your pieces authentic to what you're doing. So like, when you make your turtle, do you do the 13
Yes.
blocks?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I make my turtles. I detail them just like a box turtle would look.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the detailing on his back of his shell and underneath the shell. And the 13 blocks represent the 13 moons in the year. And just like the peace pipe, the Catawba peace pipe, 4 stems,
Mm-hmm.
and it sits on 3 legs. Well, I was taught, and I realized that them 4 stems represent, you can go either way. 4 seasons of the year, or the 4 directions,
Mm-hmm.
north, east, south, and west.
Right.
And that's where the 4 stems come in. Just like the cupid jug, gypsy pot, first settlers came over, married into the Catawbas tribe. The gypsy pot came from Spaniards. Spain, gypsies. That's how that pot arrived in the Catawba Indian Nation, what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a cupid jug. Just like the loving cup. That came from across the ocean. Loving cup, you know. You
Rebecca pictures.
Yeah, Rebecca
Yeah.
pictures. Mm-hmm. And the old snake bowl, you know, you got a little history on an old snake bowl. I was told that that snake might wrap around a bucket or a bowl, and he's just waiting on his dinner, like a fly. Say you have milk in it. You just milk a cow or something, and that old black snake might wrap around it. And he's sitting there waiting on him, a fly or a gnat or an insect, and he'd get him. That'd be his dinner.
Yep. That's great. Why do you feel like it's important to continue teaching Catawba pottery?
It needs to be handed down, and it needs to be taught in the right way, in the right manner. If you're going to make, it's your love. It's my love for the Catawba Indian Nation. It's in my blood. My father was a Catawba Indian. He was almost full Catawba. My grandma was Catawba. Grandma Emmer Canty Brown. My daddy was Alonzo Canty, George Canty. And my grandma was a master potter. I think it needs to be handed down as long as we can do it and pass it on to the next generation coming up. My little grandboys are making pottery, and he's learning the know-how to do it. And one day I'm going to be gone. But he can make his pottery and think of his grandpa while he's making it. Because I think of my grandma all the time. I think of my Aunt Catherine Canty making her pottery. I remember Aunt Arzada, which was Aunt Catherine's mother. Aunt Arzada Sanders making her pottery. Those are some master potters. And they'd be proud today.
I think so.
Taking it right on.
Yeah. So when you're teaching, I know you're teaching students, whether it's your grandchildren or other people you've taught, you're teaching them how to make the clay, or how to make the pottery using the clay. But what do you hope your students also learn about being Catawba when they're making pottery?
What they think of?
What do you hope they learn about being Catawba from learning to make Catawba pottery? Do you think it helps them know who they are as people or know more about the history?
Right.
Yeah.
Know who they are, their background, their roots, and where they came from, and who was their ancestors. Their grandmother, their grandfather, their aunts and uncles. It might be a Harris, it might be a George, it might be a Canty, or could be a Blue. Any one of us. But they know where they came from. Their background. Yes.
So, tell us about some of your favorite pieces you've ever made, and if you want to show any of these that you brought, and just why they're special to you.
Well, just like this Indian head vase. That's special. And I know it's a Indian head with a headdress war bonnet on him. But I just love making my vases with Indian heads on them. And then I make this type Indian head. And I also make the King Hagler Indian head on vases, pots. And then I make this type face. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
You may hold it toward that.
Can you see it?
Lift it up a little bit.
Tell me what to do, son. I love making this type Indian face on my vases.
And you do all that by hand?
All by hand. And I make all my pipes. Everything I make is by hand.
You don't use molds at all?
I just take a clump of clay and go for it. I get it in my mind, thinking as I'm making it, how sometimes I'll be honest with you. See how my face is, or yours, or I can take in sculpture. I'm not the world's greatest, but I can look at something and sculpture it.
Yeah, you're really good at that.
And I just love
Did you know you had that ability before you started doing pottery? Like, did you ever
Yeah, I love
do
that.
anything else, like any other kind of art or anything?
Yeah, I used to love to draw,
Okay.
but I didn't do very much of it. But I don't know. I just pick a clump of clay up, and next thing I know, I either got a frog made or either my frog. Now, my Aunt Catherine Canty, she made frogs. I can pick her frogs out.
Hers are very distinctive.
I can pick her frogs out, and you can tell my frogs the difference. Ducks, you could probably pick my ducks out. If you got 3 or 4 ducks out there from other tribal members made, I could pick my ducks out of them, you know.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yes. Everybody's got their own detailing,
Their own style a little
their
bit.
own style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so glad to be honored from some of our representatives. Just like the Attorney General of South Carolina. He came and met me at the Longhouse, and I presented pottery to him, which is in his office in the state capitol. My pottery's in the State Museum. My pottery's in York County Museum, the way I understand. Pottery's in Hickory Museum. My pottery even went to Spain. It's even went to Hawaii, Alaska. It's all over the United States. Now, not bragging, I'm just so glad people likes my pottery. And like I mentioned a while ago, I have 10 people and other people come by here that's on vacation and done write-ups on me and this and that. And it's even in the president's house in Mar-a-Lago.
Wow, that's amazing.
President Trump.
President Trump's. And Donald Trump Jr., he came to my house and visited me. You did know that, didn't you?
Well, I saw that picture that was
That's
in.
it.
I didn't know that until I saw that picture in your.
He's came to my
dining
house, and reason how that came about, the chief of the nation presented them a piece of pottery, and now I sign all my pottery. And he called the chief up and said he'd like to come visit me and meet me, meet the Catawba man that made the pottery. And you know, my chief told him who I was. So they made arrangements and he came and visited me.
That's cool.
And pottery's it's gone to North Carolina, to Roy Cooper's governor's house. Just numbers of places. USC in Lancaster.
Yeah.
There's other places. I just can't think of all of them.
Yeah, but it sounds like really far and wide your pottery has gone.
Like I was at a show in a place called Elgin, Heath Springs. Me and my wife, we was invited there every year, every show. And that was a nice show. It's Christian-like. But we had people from Georgia, North Carolina, all over. Probably from Tennessee too, all over the place with their crafts. But every year they invited me to bring my pottery. And one day, that's about the last couple shows we had, They quit having it. But anyway, I was sitting at my table, me and my wife. And two ladies came walking up in front of my table. They were from North Carolina. And one lady told her friend, said, you know, this pottery looks just like Emma Brown's. And I heard the lady mention that. And I said, ma'am, I said, what did you just say? She said, your pottery looks like Emma Brown's. Do you know her? I said, yes, ma'am. I said, and I want to thank you. I said, that's my grandmother. She said, well, your pottery resembles hers.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, my house is full of Emma Brown's pottery. She said she was a master. And I said, well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you thinking of me like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, a stranger coming to my table. We didn't say nothing. The lady just mentioned that.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that you can really see is family. You can tell who taught who. Like, you can
Right.
kind of see family lines. But for someone
Right.
to not even know you and to come up and say that your pottery looked like your grandmother's, that's really awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Something to be proud of.
Well, I had two professors from USC and Columbia. They got in an argument over one of my turtles. One came to my show, came to my table, picked up my turtle, looked at it, and and he set it back down. Didn't tell me that he wanted it or nothing. And it was Stoney's turtle I carried to the show that day, that morning. The other professor was standing behind him, and I guess he was watching that one professor particular, looking at the turtle.
Mm-hmm.
And when he walked away, that professor set the turtle down and walked away. The other one walked up and he said, Mr. Canty, I like that. I want to take this turtle. Because he didn't watch the other one handle it and looked at it and did.
And then didn't buy it.
He said, I want that turtle, Mr. Canty. And the other one turned around and said, whoa, wait a minute now. He said, I was going to buy that turtle. He said, well, you just a little too late because you didn't tell Mr. Canty to hold it for you or nothing. He said, it's my turtle now. And he said, they got to heat it up a little bit. But that one that bought it, he kept it.
Yeah.
The other one said, well, I get the next show. I get one the next show.
Well, at least it didn't come to blows, right?
And also I make owls too, figures, owl figures, whatever.
Do you ever remember your did you see your grandma Emma do pottery ever?
I
No.
remember my grandma, she died in I want to say she died in 1963. Oh, wait a minute now. I might have been about 5, 6 years old
Okay.
when Grandma passed. I remember my grandma. And I was real little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you give a young Catawba person who wants to start learning pottery?
The advice?
What advice, yeah.
I would just say, go for it, enjoy it, and enjoy making Catawba pottery. And do it to the best of your ability. And get you, if you haven't never made pottery, get you a nice instructor that'll take time and show you how to do all kind of figures, how to tie legs onto bowls, how to tie Indian head faces on bowls. There's a lot of work into making the pottery, but I would encourage them. That is great. Keep it going.
And what do you want people to know about Catawba pottery?
I want to know is what I want the people in the world to know, that the Catawba Indian Nation was really well known. Their background of the Catawba Indian Nation was their pottery making. Now that's my belief. That's what I want the world to know.